know what a civil engineer does? Google's telling me it's all about hard hats, rolled up plan sets, and safety vests. But what really do we do? Well, you can thank a civil engineer when you fill a glass of water, ride your bike on a trail, cross the river bridge, hop on the light rail, and even when you flush the toilet. It's true. Civil engineering is all around us. I'm Celeste Voss, part of Bolton & Mink's talent and management team, and today I'm going to share with you what it's like to work in the civil engineering industry. First, let's take a quick glimpse at Bolton & Mink. We were founded over 70 years ago in a garage, just like Facebook or Apple. John Bolton and Martin Mink Jr. would be so proud to know we still hold true to our values as we continue to grow. We were founded in southern Minnesota, where our roots are strong and run wide, but we have now expanded outside the Midwest, and you can find us in the southeastern United States. As we continue to grow and expand into new service lines to help serve our clients with their infrastructure needs, so does our team. Today we're going to give you an overview of a career in civil engineering. But know there's many different specialty areas within civil engineering that you could consider. Transportation engineering, water and wastewater engineering, structural engineering, water resources engineering, aviation engineering. There's so many different areas of civil engineering that you can consider. They say find your passion and you never work a day in your life. So let's dive in and hear from Jason, Marcus, and Hannah.
So we're here to talk about the life of a professional engineer, or PE. My name's Jason Femright with Bolton & Mink, born in Mankato, Minnesota, and currently a principal engineer with the firm. We're going to talk about what employers are looking for in engineering candidates and how you can equip yourself with the knowledge to put yourself in positions to get those type of jobs. So I'm a civil engineer at Bolton & Mink. What does a civil engineer do? I'm a consultant city engineer for many of the smaller communities around here. So these small communities have needs for their infrastructure, which includes water, wastewater, storm sewer, streets, curb and gutter, water towers, things of that nature. So I'm hired by these communities to help them fix a problem. Say there's a failing street, the sanitary sewer is old, the water main has breaks. We come in there, identify what the problems are, and then design a plan, work with the community to educate them on what the plan is, and then ultimately hire contractors to construct those improvements. We work with planning and designing and actually constructing these projects. So the engineers see a project from the conceptual stage all the way through construction. A little bit about me, again, Jason Femright, graduated from the University of Minnesota in 2000 with a Bachelor's of Civil Engineering degree. Attended MSU, Minnesota State University here in Mankato for some of my pre-engineering classes before I transferred to the University of Minnesota. Worked at Bolton & Mink for the past 25 years. I worked there all the way through college as well on some survey crews and kind of learning the basics of engineering from the ground up. So what led me into engineering? So at a younger age in high school, I understood that I was fairly good at math and sciences, some of those core subjects, maybe not as good at English, literature, things like that. So I thought, well, what can I do with math and science? Looked at engineering, what were the aspects of engineering, and thought it was a very sustainable career and thought I would make, the big bucks. So that was what kind of led me into it. So once you graduate, you do an 8-hour exam giving you the designation of an engineer in training. After working 4 years under a professional engineer, I was able to take the professional engineer's exam in 2004 that got me the professional engineer's designation. Since then, I've worked as a design engineer, a project manager, and ultimately now working myself into a principal engineer role with the firm. That professional engineer's degree has allowed me to move my way through a firm such as Bolton & Mink and achieved many things that I didn't know was even possible when I was sitting in your seat.
I kind of knew since high school that I wanted to be in engineering. I did some job shadowing in high school, and after looking at a couple different types of engineering, I knew I wanted to do civil engineering. So throughout my college career, I did a couple internships, kind of get a feel for the different types of civil engineering that there was. And working with Bolton & Mink as an intern, I definitely knew that this was what I wanted to do with my career and where I wanted to go after college.
I was such an outdoorsy kid. Like, if I could be on the water, whether it was fishing, water skiing, sailing, like I was out there on the water, and that was a passion of mine. I think I always knew I wanted my career to tie into that, but I didn't realize, oh, I can be a water resources engineer. So I think the dots connected at some point when I started being in high school and shadowing people and learning about careers and all that stuff, and I figured out how I could tie my passions into a career.
So within our consulting engineering firm, we talked about a myriad of things that we do. Streets, roadways, trails. Trails actually have a big component of engineering in them. You see a trail along a road, there's a lot that goes into that to make that safe and accessible for people to use. We're talking about the wastewater sewer systems, lift stations. Where does that go? Ultimately, we need to treat all of that waste that comes from all of our homes, our businesses, things like that, that gets released to our lakes and rivers. We treat that water to make sure that it's safe for our environment. The water we drink, the water mains that deliver that to our homes, the treatment that goes into that. How does pressure, so that you have enough pressure at your water tap. Those are all things that we as civil engineers take into account. Stormwater, obviously it rains a lot. Where does that water go? Those are things that we also heavily model, design, and ensure safety so we're not flooding people. You know, those are obviously things that we do not want to happen. Infrastructure for new housing developments. We're seeing development in and around our communities. These new homes are going up. How do we extend utilities to that and making sure that they become part of our communities? So we're going to play a video that shows what's under my street. Really gives a great indication of all of the aspects that go into our neighborhoods and everything that's underneath our roads.
We drive on roads and walk on sidewalks every day. But do you really know what's under your street? Let's take a journey below the surface. Clean water leaves the water treatment plant and is pumped through the water main to hydrants and into properties. Shut-off valves allow the city to turn off water to individual houses for repairs or to isolate leaks. Once water is used in the house, it travels through the sanitary sewer system to the wastewater treatment plant, where it is cleaned and returned to the environment. Manholes and sanitary service cleanouts are used to access the system for cleaning and inspection. The storm sewer drains rainwater from the street surface, collects it in catch basins, and pipes it to manholes where it is carried to a lake or river. In some areas, houses have sump pumps in their lowest level where water is pumped out to the storm sewer system. Roads are made up of 3 layers. Some streets contain a curb and gutter carrying rainwater to catch basins and acting as a barrier between vehicles and pedestrians. Curb and gutter, boulevards, and sidewalks all fall within the public right-of-way, so they can be accessed and repaired if needed. Private utilities are generally placed in the boulevard or under the sidewalk.
We're talking about large amounts of water that may inundate our sewer systems, and you get the call from City Hall that all of a sudden somebody has some issues in their basement. Right? When we're talking about water inundating the systems, these are not situations that anybody wants to have in their homes. This is reality. There's a problem. We need to call the engineer to help get these things fixed so that doesn't happen again. At Bolton & Mink, when I'm going through resumes, I'm looking for young engineers. Obviously, everybody that's applying for this job has gotten that 4-year degree, which is definitely a big thing. We don't want to minimize that. It's what else have you done? Have we gotten involved? Have we done any other volunteering? What internship experiences may you have? What other volunteering experiences may you have that set you apart from other candidates? Obviously, getting that degree is extremely important, but continuing to strive on some of those other things and tell that story concisely within that resume. Moving forward to interviews, I know they can be intimidating. Dress appropriately, be on time, and come to the interview with a great attitude to just communicate, right? The way I like to do interviews, I don't want it to be tense and we're not going to go through a regimented questions. We're here to have a conversation. You tell me about your experiences and why you would like to work at this job, and we'll just have a free-flowing conversation. It doesn't have to be overly regimented. So relax and come in and just have a good conversation. I find that those are some of the best interviews that we have. As a young engineer, what can you do to provide a good resume and ultimately get a job here? What you need to do is obviously focus on your education, getting that degree, making sure that you're getting at least a 3.0 in your engineering classes, but being involved outside of the core engineering classes that you're involved in. You know, doing some volunteering, getting involved in some extracurricular activities, getting involved in various clubs. The things you do outside of the classroom that would set you apart. You know, have you gotten internships? What other expertise have you learned that are going to make you a better potential employee for our company?
You need a good work ethic. With that, you know, it's being reliable, being on time, making sure you make the phone calls, the conversations that you need to have, and that you don't need to be checked in on all the time. If your boss can know you're going to get the job done on time.
I think another thing is being passionate about whatever the job is. So for water resources, like I remember having a conversation in my interview about how passionate I was about water resources. Like, did I talk about how I was passionate about roadway drainage? No, but like I am still passionate about what I do and problem solving and stuff like that. I think just to have something so you're not coming into interviews and being like, well, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, like check, check, check. Well, like I said, someone's probably walking in afterwards doing the same thing, so how are you gonna set yourself apart?
So what's a typical path at Bolton and Mink? So you've graduated from the University of Minnesota or any other civil engineering programs, so you've gotten a job at Bolton and Mink. So what's my path look like? That year 1 to 4 is when you're doing, you're working under a professional engineer, doing design calculations, computer-aided drafting, and some of those preliminary designs. You're doing some analysis, engineering calculations. We're doing quantities. We're doing some layouts. Spreadsheets are definitely something that we work extensively with. And on a typical week at Bolton and Mink for those first 1 to 4 years, you're working 40 to 50 hours. It is a full-time opportunity, and that's really through November through April. That's through the design season. And then through May and October through the summer season, that's when construction is taking place. As a young engineer, you're going to be out on these projects, helping those contractors interpret the plans and actually watching them install the improvements, making sure that they're following per the plans and specifications that were put together. During the construction season, you'll work upwards from 50 to 60 hours is not uncommon. We're talking about short summer months here in the upper Midwest, so time is of the essence to getting those construction projects accomplished. After you've worked under a professional engineer for those first 1 to 4 years, year 5, that's when you can get that opportunity to take that professional engineer's exam, getting registered. Once you've become registered, that's when you start having more opportunities to becoming the actual project engineer, where you maybe are overseeing some of the younger engineers in preparing the plans and specifications and the designs. You're maybe getting into some more client contact meetings with, say we're the city engineer in Janesville, and you're now the professional engineer involved in that. You may be meeting with the client, meeting with the council, talking about what the project is going to entail. So as you're moving forward in those years at Bolton and Mink, 9, 10, 11 and plus years and beyond, you go from a design engineer into project management. Those are opportunities to work with clients, helping them identify what projects they maybe want to get accomplished, and then continuing to work with our staff here to bring those projects to fruition. So what's a typical salary that I could expect coming in to Bolton and Mink? You graduated, you're coming in as an entry-level engineer for those first 4 years. 50,000+ is definitely an expectation as a base. We have many other employee incentives, 401k insurance, things like that are opportunities.
There's still a gap between the amount of men and the amount of women in the career path, but I think that gap's closing, and the more smart young women we have coming into the profession, the smaller that gap's going to be. So if you're interested in math, if you're interested in science, if you like problem solving, then engineering could be a great career path for you. It's more about your passions than your physical characteristics.
Personally, I've worked at plenty of places otherwise, and Bolton Mink has a great atmosphere. It doesn't matter if you're in the metro, if you're down in small town Lake Crystal. Everyone always has a good attitude and loves working here. I think that makes a big difference compared to working at a firm where you're just a number.
I chose Bolton & Mink off of a gut feeling. After my interview, I felt like the people were my kind of people. I felt like the size of the company was perfect. It was big enough to have all of these resources that big companies have, but small enough that I know everyone I work with. I was born in Michigan. I went to school in Michigan, went to school in Iowa. I had no connections to Minnesota. Bolton & Mink is the reason I'm in Minnesota. I'm really passionate about working here, and I think it's mostly because of the people.
In our industry, there are many other people involved to make sure projects get completed successfully and our clients are happy. We look to community and technical colleges for students who complete a 2-year degree in civil engineering technology and land surveying. So other areas that you could consider as a career include land surveying. Become a survey crew chief and enjoy the great outdoors. You can also consider your education to become a licensed land surveyor. Another area that you can consider is a civil engineering technician. In this role, you can work in the office and helping with design plans, or also be out in the field while projects are being completed. If you're really outdoorsy, construction project representative is another area to consider. You're working out in the field ensuring projects are being built to the plan specifications. And this role includes being on-the-spot problem solver and also public relations, as you'll be working with owners, contractors, residents, and business owners. So why would you consider this a career field? If you enjoy problem solving, math and science, and enjoy seeing the fruits of your labor, this would be a great field for you. It's not every career field that you can drive around and say to family and friends, I helped design this bridge, or I helped design that sweet ninja park. Have we piqued your interest and now you're wondering what to do next? Consider a summer internship with Bolton & Mink. Typically, we bring on 40 to 60 summer interns every year. This is a great opportunity for you to get real-world experience and work side by side as civil engineer. Check out other resources we have available on our website, including job shadow information, as well as our line of children's books. There's a wide variety of expertise that go into helping people live in a safe, sustainable, and beautiful community, and we take pride in our ability to make that happen. On behalf of Bolton & Mink and all those in the civil engineering industry, we hope you consider a career in civil engineering.